There's a tick problem in the wooded areas in the United States. It's such a severe issue that I can't be anywhere around the wooded areas anymore. I strongly feel that it is some form of deliberate biological attack against U.S. civilians, but I don't think that it's an issue coming from some other foreign country. I think that my own country did this. So hi, my name's LaDonna Cross. What's up? I'm Sky Judge. Feels really weird saying that. And there's a tick problem in the U.S. I don't know if it's everywhere else, but here it's severe. I've only been in this little area that I'm in right now for like a week, give or take. And the person who lives here went out to, a cemetery or, a grassy, semi wooded area where I imagine that the grass was cut. I wasn't there, so I don't really know what happened, but he ended up with a tick on him. And whenever I saw it, it had a white spot in the middle of it. And I have two spots like that on me right now, one on the back of my leg and one on my back. And I've lived in a wooded area. I lived in a wooded area in West Virginia for like well over a decade. I've got a pretty good amount of experience in forested areas, in forests. I'm a seasoned woodland creature. I'm also a desert creature. I'm also a desert dweller, but I'm a seasoned woodland creature, and I know the woods pretty well. And I know that I was able to walk through the woods or spend the night in the woods without being attacked by ticks. Um, the first time that I mean, I've seen them a few times, sure, throughout my life, but there was one who got me. There was one that got me in Alabama years ago, and that was like a big deal. It was something that like never happened. I don't think anything happened because of that one, but within the following couple few years, whenever I was at the Rainbow Gathering in Missouri in the Mark Twain National Forest, there was a really bad tick issue there. And I'm not sure that it was that bad of an issue even before we showed up. I really strongly feel that some shady character or a group of people have unleashed these ticks or have infected these ticks or whatever, or um, have bred them elsewhere and then brought them to these specific locations where they might be able to pretend that just, that a tick population just totally exploded in those areas or whatever, that some insect population just, for no reason, just overnight, just completely took off and completely defied anything that nature would actually do on its own. Um, I really feel for the animals in those forests because I know for a fact that they aren't used to ticks by that number, in those numbers, and that are that ferocious and horrible. What I was seeing especially a lot of, especially while I was in my tent, um, were these teeny tiny little baby ticks, and some of them would just be like, I mean, teeny tiny, just itty bitty, that you'd just barely even be able to tell that it was there. And I was like, oh, now see, I got a little tick guy on me. And even just little tiny spots like that, you would have to sometimes really work at getting off of you. And At one point, while I was at the Rainbow Gathering, I mean, it was so bad that my whole body was covered in spots. I've never been through anything like that before. And the locals can act like that's something that they go through. It is not. There's no way that just normal mammals would be able to survive in conditions like that, where all you have to do is just walk into the woods and you all of a sudden get covered by 1,000 ticks. No, it's just not. No, they didn't just. No, you're not just gonna tell me that one insect in particular is just has completely just fucking exploded like that in populace. Just no. What's happened is totally deliberate. I'm not sure what they've given what all kind of biological nastiness that these ticks have been infected with. I know that um, uh, one of the long-term symptoms that you can suffer from is it called Guillain-Barré syndrome? I'm sorry, I didn't actually read into it very much. It's a red meat allergy. So, but it's supposed to be more than just a red meat allergy. It's supposed to be much worse than that. And I feel goofy if I got like if I just said the completely wrong, medical whatever, and that's something completely different. But it's whatever. And then I watched Alex Jones, just talking about it, and he said that some of these ticks are infected with syphilis. And if that's so, that's going to be really upsetting. But I wouldn't doubt it because honestly, like, I mean, not to say that I have syphilis or whatever. I'm not trying to say that. Good God. That'd be so horrific. And I think that they have a rapid AIDS and syphilis test now. So if you're in the right place, you can actually go get a rapid test and they'll tell you within like 2 minutes or something like that. But it did actually, like, they call it what do they call it, a bullseye or bullet, something like that, I don't know, but it's like wherever your bite is, or what insect bite, the ring around it or an area around it where it gets kind of swollen and nasty and stuff. I kind of started to have that go on the back of my leg and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, this is textbook disgusting. No. And, anyways, it's just what Alex Jones reminded me of. And he's talking about it. But he said that he even said that the ticks are being unleashed deliberately and that they've been infected with multiple different things. So anyways, I realized that this was a problem. Like, I knew that this was a problem already. I gave it a chance over the winter. I was like, maybe winter will be strong enough where I am to at least kill off the ticks somewhat. But as soon as springtime hit, I was outside. I was trying to clean up this bitch's yard, and there I was getting eaten with them again. And like, how is this happening? Like, I've never been through anything like this before. They were never getting me before, and all of a sudden it's not just one. It's I'm walking and I'm having to look at myself. I'm having to look myself over. I'm having to, you know what I mean? And I'm finding them when I'm not expecting them. And is anybody else going through this? I've never fucking been through this shit in my whole life, and it's so bad. It's so disgusting, and I definitely don't want to get ate up by mosquitoes, ticks, lice, bed bugs, scabies, fucking any of that shit. I don't want to have anything to do with any of that fucking shit. So I was like, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to be here in the sticks. I'm going to have to leave the forested areas entirely, and I can't be in the city in my situation. I can't be in like the dead middle of in this epicenter of shit. So what I can do is be out in the desert areas, maybe where there's not going to be the grass and the crappy vegetation for them to thrive in. the way that they are here in the wooded areas, in the woodlands. But like, I started to say earlier that I was in this tent and it had this real thin netting. It's really small, like, um, holy netting, really teeny tiny. But I was sleeping in there, and the ticks were getting through that netting, and I actually used it. I used that tent all 1 week in Missouri, and then I took it with me and I set it up. As soon as I got to West Virginia, I climbed up on a hill beside the highway, and I set my tent up there for a little bit. And the ticks were eating me alive, dude. Little bitty, teeny tiny ticks were crawling through the tent and eating me alive. And I didn't really know that much about the Lyme disease shit or whatever yet, but whenever I was in Missouri after I left the Rainbow Gathering, and I was in really good condition. I was in great health while I was at the Rainbow Gathering. The food was great. The party wasn't that great. I couldn't really party. People don't really let me party. But like, I was in great health. I was like 125 pounds, 130 pounds or something like that. I was beautiful. I was amazing. And then within within just a couple days after leaving the Rainbow Gathering, I started to get sick, and I started to blow up the bathroom, and I was like, what the hey, you know what I mean? And I was at these different people's houses because I'd rode with somebody from the Rainbow Gathering to South Carolina, and was they let me stay in the living room until for a few days. And I have to watch my food and drink everywhere I go, and I keep track of whether or not I'm having any issues or whatever after people feed me, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm really sensitive anyways, and I really try to keep track of if I feel anything weird and stuff like that, because I really try not to accept food and drink from anybody. But I did eat a few things at those people's house in South Carolina or whatever, and uh, I started having issues and stuff. And at the time, I was like, are these people poisoning me? Like, is this girl jealous of me? Like, did she put something in my food so that I would be like blowing the bathroom up and that sort of thing? And this might seem like too much information to you guys, but if this is going to be a crisis or an epidemic the way that I think that it is, or the way that it might already be, and I'm just now catching on or whatever, it might be good for you guys to know that. You know what I mean? That's like the first symptoms of, you know, the sickness that happens and develops from these tick bites. All right, and from there it will turn into like a swelling, and you'll be swelling, and your throat will start to swell. Your voice, you'll start to hear it in your voice, your face. You'll literally, your abdomen will swell out like a balloon, and you'll be eating, and it'll feel like you're not eating at all. You'll eat, and your body just won't be absorbing. I guess it blocks nutrient absorption in the intestinal lining or something like that, or it just like just blows you up, fucks you up so bad, it makes you swell so bad that you can't absorb the nutrients as well from your food, and it makes you actually start to consume more food. You know what I mean? Like, demonically, like, oh, I'm not getting enough out of it, and here you are eating more food. And it makes it to where, like, you do get the calories from all that food you're eating, but you're not actually getting the nutrients from it, or your whatever is malfunctioning, and it's really horrible. And the whole time that I was really, really sick with it, I wanted to just eat and eat and eat and eat. But I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of the food at all. It was so terrible, and I gained so much weight. I easily gained like between 20 and 40 pounds while I had that. And I didn't really care at the time. I didn't care at the time because I'd just been like starving, you know what I mean, for a long time, kind of like super hungry. By the time that I left those people's house in South Carolina to you know what I mean, as I was leaving those people's house, I didn't have money for food or anything, and I was standing in front of a dollar store holding a sign, and A cop told me that I couldn't fly a sign there, and I was so, so upset because I wanted food so bad. And this black lady came up to me and she bought me like a couple stupid things in the dollar store, and I felt so bad that somebody else was having to buy me food like that, that I was such a fucking broke ass bee on the streets and shit, that somebody else who probably ain't doing that well either bought me food. But that's how it was, and I was just so thankful and stuff. But when it came to me having access to food again, whenever I got back to West Virginia, I was able to get food stamps for the first time in like over a year, and then all of a sudden I had all this access to food again, and I might have gone a little bit overboard, and it was bad timing for me to have the access to the food like I did while I had Lyme's disease really bad. Limes, I don't know, I probably say it wrong, but so anyways, like, I just ran away from West Virginia like a week ago, and as I was leaving, I was getting ate up by fucking ticks again. And so I spent like 7 days or longer leaving West Virginia, trying to escape West Virginia, and I just got ate up the entire way. By the time that I got, there was one day when things were pretty bad. When I had to walk for hours. I may have walked like 15 or 20 miles. I have no idea. Like, I don't know. But I definitely ended up covered in ticks. So by the time I got picked up off the highway, kindly picked up off the highway and brought back here, I got in the shower and just couldn't believe that I was having to pull them off of the inside of this dress. I was having to pull them off of me. I was, you know what I mean? Like, one of them like slipped out of my hands, and it was like on the shower curtain, and I was like, "Is she still alive?" I was like trying to spray it down the drain and stuff, and like, I mean, they're really bad, to where I'm pulling them off of me and having to get rid of them and do things with them, and I'm, you know, the idea of me taking my time to remove a tick, that idea has been way out of the fucking question. Like, this is serious enough that, like, you know, if you're just, sure, maybe if it's just one tick, if you really want to be anal about it and really take your time. I don't know how to take my time taking ticks off. I've never even dealt with anything like this before. And when you have 20 or 50 of them on you that are just sucking your blood, like, your first instinct is to just get them off of you. So, I mean, like, there was at one point when I was having to take tweezers and fucking get them off. Like, whenever I was at, I did actually restore a picture that I almost deleted of, how bad those tick bites were. And it's like all my side flank and stuff like that. I was thinking about posting it. I got a little belly. There's a little belly, and I might have to, crop out of there or cover up somehow. But you can see just all these horrible spots and stuff all over me. Like, I really thought that I was just going to be completely scarred by that for the rest of my life. I didn't know that it was, you know, I didn't know that it was going to like clear up for the most part. Like, I was covered in spots. It was really, really, really bad. And as soon as I got from Missouri to West Virginia, as I said, it was just as bad. So as I was kicking myself, so I was like laying in my tent in West Virginia, kicking myself for going to the rainbow gathering just because I was eaten alive so badly. I was like, oh, I was there with a bunch of hippies, and I was sharing in their curses because of their cursed nature and all, you know what I mean? Not that hippies are cursed, but there were specifically witches at this particular rainbow gathering, and so that's why I was carrying on like that. But I was like, oh yeah, you go a place where there's dogs, and you're bound to catch fleas, and you know what I mean, just talking all kinds of shit. But you know, there were plenty of other people at the rainbow gathering who definitely caught Lyme's disease over the summer. Every fucking single person who was there, I can damn near guarantee you that they caught it, children included. And plenty of people knew what was happening. There were a couple people who were like, oh yeah, I got tipped off about the insect thing, and I brought extra repellent and stuff like that. Why the fuck would I need to go to a rainbow gathering where I'm going to have to bring a lot of DEET and insect repellent? that completely defeats the whole hippie thing. You know what I mean? You could have found a better spot. But unfortunately, it seems that in the United States, there might not be a better spot in the woods or in the woodland areas, which really sucks. And I really hope that, somebody releases some chickens or something out where, I don't know, I hope that you find some way to devastate the tick population and return it back to normal, because this is something that is going to infect and bother other animals as well, not just humans, which I'm sure were the intended targets. But I mean, I can't imagine a deer, a squirrel, anything can survive very long in some conditions like this. I mean, can you imagine all of our forest creatures catching Lyme disease? Now, I know that some of these diseases and viruses don't carry over into other animals, but that one fucking does. That one kind of fucking does. It's an interspecies fucking virus. Disease, whatever. I mean, I'm not a fucking professional or anything, but I at least understand that much. I mean, they're called deer ticks, some of them. So, and for anybody to have taken and infected them with extra shit and then releasing that shit onto the wild, like that's cruelty. That's cruelty as well. And it's demonic, it's witchcraft. I don't understand why you would need to change an entire ecosystem so drastically to the negative. That's so hardcore. But I mean, it's completely ruined anyone's chances of surviving in the forests unless you are going to walk around covered in fucking duct tape and DEET. Like, aside from that, I have no, unless you're gonna walk around in a bubble, then I don't know how to fuck y'all are not gonna end up all catching this out here over and over and over again. As soon as you get rid of it and take medication for it to get rid of it the first time, you're just gonna get hit with another one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to wish that evil on anybody. I'm not trying to be like that, but, I just got over it. And here I am, I probably just caught it again. I mean, I hope not. I hope I didn't just catch it again. You know what I mean? I really hope, but I know I have to watch what I say or whatever. But in this case, I'm doing my best to warn others, and it's like I'm either gonna have to be on the water in the desert. I mean, I don't know. But it's not gonna work out very well for me or potentially anyone else, or for the animals, the dogs, anything. Not even the rats are gonna be okay in the wooded areas until this shit gets fixed. It's that fucking severe. Yeah, and the person who I was explaining earlier who just got bit, that person isn't outside all the time like me. He's not walking around on the roadsides, sitting along the road, cat burning down like me. He just went outside for a little while somewhere and came back and had one on him, and blam, has one of those white things in it, and it's fucking, you know what I mean, swollen around it and stuff like that. And there's no way that, I mean, you can put peroxide on it, you can put alcohol on it, you can put antibiotic ointment on it, you can do all that shit that you want. But whatever's in there is in there, and whatever's infected you, it's got you, and it sucks really bad, and you have to come up with, you have to take antibiotics for it or whatever, but you never actually fully get rid of it. And I think that there are people right now who are carrying it, and people whose animals have it, and they don't realize that they have it. I would say that the second symptom that I had that would raise alarm bells for me, that showed me that there was something wrong, was that I felt really sleepy. And it wasn't just like a normal sleepy. It was like, wow, this is like an old school sleepy. Like, I can remember feeling this kind of sleepy when I was younger. It's like a sleepy, It's almost like a somnolence that I've lost over time or something like that. But it was like that, and I would want to go to sleep and pretty early in the day, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, and I would want to sleep like that for 4 or 5, 6 hours even. You know what I mean? Way longer naps than you would normally take just napping or whatever. Um, but definitely the bathroom issues did not begin to resolve until a week or two after an antibiotic regimen, um, and um, the sleep. I think that the sleep issues resolved a little bit, but as I have a thyroid problem, I don't. I just um. Oh, and then I'm just gonna say real quickly that I know that I just said that I had a thyroid problem, and that some people would be like, "Oh, you can't say that because that'll give you a thyroid problem because you said that." Okay, no, I'm acknowledging that there is a thyroid issue, which is not illegal in any spiritual sense. It's not going to harm me to say that out loud. Um, it might be better if I said I am in constant recovery from a thyroid issue, or I'm constantly ignoring a thyroid issue, or constantly, I don't know. Um, but I hate stupid arguments about stupid things. So I guess that's it for the tick subject. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, Lyme's disease will completely change the shape of your entire body if you don't catch it in time. And you would think that you have great self-control and that you're a supermodel and that you got things under wraps, but when your body is literally starving because you're not able to get fucking nutrients because your intestinal walls are so swollen with whatever Lyme disease, parasitic whatever shit that came from the fucking forest insects, it's nothing to fuck around about. So I'm not sure what the solution is to the problems that they create. I wish that they would have solutions to the problems that they created, or that they would maybe not create them. This is definitely not just a biological happenstance. This is not something that happened by accident. People actually they would have had to have placed extra insects there. I've been in plenty of situations as someone who's being bullied and stalked and abused really severely by multiple different groups, organizations, agencies, and things like that, individuals, entities. They have done things like just completely unload like a bunch of roaches in an apartment, you know what I mean, or just unload a whole bunch of rats in and around a house, just complete like boxes and boxes and boxes of them. I've had them, bed bugs. I've you can tell the difference between a place where a shitload of animals and insects were just unnaturally dumped in a large population, and that they don't really have things figured out yet. They're a little bit loose, and everything's still trying to figure out where the fuck it can even hide and shit. There's a difference between the shit that just happened naturally and the shit that other people fucking put there. Um, I've had them put weird fucking insects in my plants before. I've had people put weird insects in my plants. I've had them put weird insects in all kinds of shit. Um, so, anyways, I guess that's all for now, since I'm starting to lose my energy, anyways. But fuck ticks. It's really sad that we have to say goodbye to the wooded areas, at least temporarily. I hope that nature kicks the ticks' asses. I hope that nature finds some way to filter this out. It's really sad. And it comes right in the same time, like, what sucks is that in an emergency apocalyptic situation here in the United States, we would have been able to use the woods. I mean, we have all of these woods that we would be able to use for hunting, for fishing, for gathering, for foraging, for everything, for our own protection and safety, for everything that we would need. We have, especially the Appalachian Mountains here. I can't really speak very much for the other mountain ranges because they really weren't as cool or valuable to me as the Appalachian Mountains. But there's a shitload here, and if someone wanted to survive in the forests and off of the land, this would be the place to do it. The Appalachian Mountains would be the number one place to do that. And unfortunately for these forests and for potentially all the other forests in America, I don't know, but from Missouri to West Virginia, most certainly, everything's fucked as far as the tick population goes. You're not going to be able to go camping without catching fucking Lyme's disease. It's that fucking bad. You're not going to be able to fucking go visit Granny's grave without picking something up. You know what I mean? Like, it's that bad. Fuck around at y'all's own will, at your own, you know what I mean, discretion and shit. It is, I'm telling you this on May 9th, 2026. So, it's basically summer. It's about to be summer. And, there's a massive population of flesh-eating, blood-sucking ticks ripe and ready to just jump on anything that they can right now. And I couldn't make it through the first day getting here without like pulling 10 of them off of me. And I don't rightly want to tell you where I am at the moment, but I'm still somewhere around the Appalachian Mountains. And if it's bad now, with the nights still chilled and everything, things did not winter enough, and the tick population it's ghastly, and in a perfect world it all clears up and we never hear about it again, and this ends up being a pointless video, but we don't live in a perfect world. And, people don't just partake in biological, weaponry, weaponizing insects for no reason. I mean, there's gonna be a reason why they did that. And rendering the woods uninhabitable is one of the saddest reasons why they could have done so. In an emergency situation, they're not going to want you guys to be able to live off of the woods, and they're not going to want to have to hunt you into the woods. Even though they've got all kinds of neat drones and, robot dogs and all these other human hunting capabilities, it's easier just to prevent you from going in there. It's easier just to get you to completely abandon that area and to not use those resources at all. And to have to fight each other over the resources that are in homes or in the desert areas or in the city dwelling areas instead or whatever. All right, cool. Peace.